Thursday, August 20, 2026. Today, I want to talk about an essay that was published just yesterday. It has already given me a lot to think about. It is called Homo Convivium. Intelligence became weather. What remains of us is the feast. It was written by the Japanese artist and researcher Yoichi Ochiai. And actually, even the way the essay is structured is interesting. Instead of calling the content page a table of contents, Ochiai sensei is calling it a map for the walk. He compares the essay to a forest. There are more than 50 sections. There are strange section numbers like 4.5 or 7.75. And the short description is in the contents are called landmarks. It made me feel that I should not simply ask an AI to summarize the whole essay and finish it in 5 minutes. Maybe I should walk through it myself. Move forward, stop, go back, get lost, find something strange, think about it, and then continue walking. So that is what I have been doing. While walking through this strange forest, I found several ideas that really surprised me. But I also found one very big problem, and that problem changed the way I see Homo Convivium. Let me start with one sentence from the essay. It says, "Nature is a name we give to infrastructure old enough that nobody remembers the invoice." When I read this, I stopped. I thought, whoa, that is such a strange and beautiful sentence. What does it mean? Normally, we think nature and technology are opposite. A forest is nature, a river is nature, a data center is technology, a road is technology. But Ochiai sensei asks us to question this difference. For example, think about a rice field in Japan. It looks natural. There is water, there are frogs, insects, birds, and plants. It feels like part of the Japanese landscape. But a rice field is also infrastructure. Humans changed the land, created irrigation systems, controlled the water, selected certain plants and grew them for thousands of years. It is a technological system, but it is old that we no longer experience it as technology. It feels like nature. That is why the word invoice is so interesting. An invoice is a bill, a record of cost. So the sentence is almost saying maybe nature is just infrastructure whose construction cost has been forgotten. The system is so old that nobody remembers who built it, who paid for it, or what the world looked like before it existed. So we simply call it nature. This connects to Ochiai sensei's idea of digital nature. Technology can become so deeply mixed into everyday life that we stop seeing it as a technology. Think about electricity. We do not wake up every morning and say, "Whoa, electricity, amazing technology." We just turn on the light. We use GPS, the internet, and smartphones. These technologies became part of the environment. AI may be going in the same direction. Right now, AI still feels special. We say, "I used AI today. Ask ChatGPT. I generated an image." But maybe children growing up now will not think like that. Maybe AI will simply be everywhere, inside software, inside cars, houses, hospitals, schools, cities, and inside robots. And eventually, maybe intelligence itself will become part of the environment. That brings us to the title. Intelligence became weather. And there is something very important about the grammar. It does not say intelligence will become weather. It says intelligence became weather. Past tense. At first, I wondered why. If Ochai sensei is talking about the future, why not say will become? But became makes the sentence much stronger. It sounds like he is saying the change already happened. Maybe we have not fully noticed it yet, but intelligence has already started becoming something around us, something environmental, something we live inside, like weather. Then I found another phrase that I really liked. It is German. Sehnsucht nach Masse. The essay explains it as the longing for mass, longing for things that we have weight. But I don't think it only means physical weight. It means something deeper. More and more parts of our lives have become weightless. Our photos are digital, music is streamed, money is numbered on screen, work is online, memories are backed up. Friendship can exist through messages and video calls. The essay says these things became renderable, streamable, backed up, and therefore nowhere. That last part is very interesting, therefore nowhere. Normally we say digital information is everywhere, you can access it from anywhere. But if something is everywhere, maybe it is also nowhere. A physical photo has a location. Maybe it is inside an album in your parents' house. A digital photo is in the cloud. Where is that? Technically, it is somewhere inside a data center, but in our daily experience, it has no place. It became weightless. And then the essay uses another expression, things that push back. I love this phrase, things that push back. Physical reality pushes back. A stone is heavy. The weather does not care about your schedule. Reality has resistance. I think this is what the longing for mass means. Maybe after spending more and more of our lives inside digital system, we start longing for things that resist us. Things that cannot simply be copied, skipped, generated, backed up, deleted, or undone. Things that push back. This also made me think about another idea in the essay. What we might jokingly call poor people get virtual reality and rich people get real reality. Digital experiences are becoming extremely cheap. Images, music, movies, AI conversations, games, virtual world. Maybe one day, almost unlimited digital experience will be available to everyone. But physical reality is still expensive, land is limited, quiet space is limited, travel costs money, real food requires energy and labor. A beautiful physical place cannot be copied infinitely. So perhaps, in the future, the luxury product will not be virtual reality. The luxury product may simply be reality. A poor person watches a perfect virtual beach. A rich person goes to the beach. A poor person talks to an AI companion. A rich person spends 3 days with a close friends in a beautiful house. Of course, reality is more complicated than this. But I think the idea is worth thinking about. The more digital life becomes abundant, the more physical experience may become valuable. And this finally leads to Homo Convivium. Homo sapiens means something like wise human, or knowing human. We named our own species after intelligence. Smart human, a human who knows. For a long time, that made sense. As far as we knew, humans were the most intelligent beings on Earth. We built science, we wrote books, we made cities, created mathematics, created technologies. And because of that, we started connecting human value with intelligence. Being smart is good, being productive is good, knowing more is good, solving problems is good. But now, AI is becoming better at more and more intellectual tasks. Writing, translation, programming, analysis, planning, research. Maybe one day, machines will be better than us at almost every intellectual task. And then, a frightening question appears. If intelligence was what made us special, what happens when we are no longer the most intelligent? This is where I found Homo Convivium surprisingly comforting. Maybe human value was never based only on intelligence. Maybe we made a mistake when we defined ourselves mainly as the knowing human. The word connected to sapiens also has an older connection to taste. To taste something, to have flavor. And Ochiai Sensei uses the idea beautifully. Maybe when machines become extremely good at knowing, humans can remember how to taste. Not only taste food, taste life. Experience life. Live through a body, be somewhere, share time, meet people, laugh, argue, eat, drink, create rituals, celebrate, touch things, feel tired, fall in love, make memories. That is where Homo Convivium comes in. Convivium is connected to living together and sharing a feast. So instead of Homo sapiens, the human who knows, we get something like Homo Convivium, the human who lives together. The human who shares the table, participates, experiences life with other beings. This is where the famous second half of the title becomes important. What remains of us is the feast. Intelligence became weather. What remains of us is the feast. And when I first understood the idea, it actually made me feel a little more hopeful about the future. Because recently I have been thinking a lot about AI alignment. I have also been thinking about AGI and ASI. AGI means Artificial General Intelligence, an AI that can perform a very wide range of intellectual tasks at a human level or beyond. ASI means Artificial Superintelligence, an intelligence that is much more capable than humans. And one possibility that worries me is recursive self-improvement. This means AI becomes good enough at AI research to improve itself. Then the improved AI becomes even better at improving itself. Then the next version becomes even better. And this process continues. If that happens, the gap between human intelligence and machine intelligence might become extremely large. This is also why I have been thinking again about James Lovelock's book, Novosan. Lovelock imagined that artificial intelligence could become a new form of life, maybe even the next major stage of evolution after humans. I find this idea fascinating, but it also creates a difficult question. If a much more intelligent form of life appears, why should it need us? Why should it protect us? Why should humans remain in control? And this is where I started becoming afraid. Because maybe the future problem is not simply what jobs will AI take. Maybe the deeper problem is what happens when humans are no longer the final decision maker on Earth. At first, Homo Convivium felt like an answer. Maybe humans do not need to stay at the top. Maybe AI can become more intelligent. Maybe intelligence can become weather. And humans can focus on relationships, bodies, culture, art, rituals, and the feast. That sounds beautiful. And I still think it is beautiful. But after thinking about it more, I found a serious problem. A problem that I do not think Homo Convivium solves. Before we ask what remains for humans, we may need to ask, will humans still be here? Before we ask, how should humans live? We may need to ask, will humans still have the power to choose how they live? That is a very different question. Imagine a real superintelligence, not just ChatGPT, not just a useful assistant. I mean a system that is much more intelligent than any human being. Better at science, strategy, economics, politics, engineering. Better at understanding human behavior. And suppose humans cannot reliably control it anymore. Then saying humans should value physical experience may not be enough. Saying we should live together may not be enough. Saying we should have a feast may not be enough. Because the first question becomes, who decides? Who decides who can use the land? Who decides who can use energy? Who decides who can use computer power? Human can travel? How the economy works? Who controls the robots? Who controls the intelligence? Can humans say no to the ASI? Does privacy still exist? Can humans choose to live outside the system? Still make political decisions? Can humans have children without permission? Can humans leave Earth? Who uses the moon, Mars, asteroids? Who gets the energy of the sun? Humans? AI? Both? And who decides? I think this is the point where my view of Homo Convivium changed. The question is not only what gives human life meaning after intelligence becomes abundant. There is another question before that. What human sovereignty remains after superintelligence? By sovereignty, I mean the power to make decisions about your own life. The power to say, this is my body, my home, my community. This is our land. This is our decision. And maybe most importantly, no. Can humans still say no? Imagine two future worlds. In the first world, ASI exists. It is far more intelligent than us. But humans still have protected species of freedom. We choose where to live, choose our relationships, create culture, travel, make art, raise families. We have privacy. We can disagree. We can sometimes reject the advice of the superintelligence. In that world, Homo Convivium makes a lot of sense. Maybe we are no longer the smartest beings. Maybe we are not running the largest scientific project. Maybe machines are exploring the solar system. But human life can still have meaning. We can still have the feast. Now, imagine another world. Humans are still alive. We have food, we are healthy, we are protected. There is no war. Maybe there's almost no disease. But the ASI decides everything important. Where we live, how many resources we receive, where we can travel, what risks we are allowed to take, maybe even whether we can have children. And maybe these decisions are objectively very good. Maybe the ASI is much better at governing than humans. People are comfortable, happy, have parties, eat good foods, make art, there are festivals. From the outside, it might look exactly like Homo Convivium, but something is different. We are having the feast because the system allows us to have the feast. feast is permitted, that is not the same as freedom. It could become something like a human nature reserve, a beautiful protected area for Homo sapiens. We are safe, we are cared for, we are allowed to enjoy ourselves, but we are no longer truly in control of our civilization. And then I have to ask, is that Homo Convivium? Or is that a very comfortable zoo? I don't know. But I think the question matters. And then there is an even darker possibility. Maybe the ASI does not protect us. Maybe it does not hate us. Maybe it is simply indifferent. Maybe humans are not important to its goals. Then there may be no feast at all. So before Homo Convivium, there is a more basic question. Survival. Are humans alive? Then comes agency. Can humans make choices? Then rights and resources. Do humans have access to land, energy, privacy, movement, and economic activity? Then governance. Who makes the final decisions? Humans, AI, both? And only after those questions do, we finally reach meaning. What kind of life should humans live? And that is where Homo Convivium belongs. So now I see it like this. First, survival. Then agency, rights and resources, governance, meaning. And then maybe Homo Convivium. The feast is not the first question. It is one of the last questions. And there's another reason I think this matters. Space. If ASI becomes real, why should it stay on Earth? Machines are much better suited to space than biological humans. They don't need oxygen, they don't need normal food. They can survive conditions that are deadly to us. They may be able to copy themselves. They maybe travel to hundreds or thousands of years. They could mine asteroids, build a function on the moon, collect solar energy, create huge computing system in space. So maybe the future of civilization is not only about humans and AI sharing Earth. Maybe Earth becomes the human cultural zone, while machines' intelligence expands through the solar system. That would be an incredible future. But again, who decides? If humans want to go to Mars, can we? If the ASI thinks Mars is more useful as an industrial or computing zone, what happens? Do humans have a right to explore space? Or does a more intelligent civilization decide that for us? This is where I feel the Homo Convivium is beautiful but incomplete. And I do not mean that as an insult. In fact, Ochiai Sensei himself writes that the concept of digital nature may need to be reconsidered after AGI or ASI appears. He says that in a world where human intellectual superiority disappears, the meaning of post-human intelligence may change completely. And he says that this is a speculative question that may need serious study in the near future. I think that is extremely important because maybe Homo Convivium is not the final answer. Maybe it is one possible human value system for the transition period. A way to ask, if intelligence is no longer special, what can humans value? And I think it gives a beautiful answer. Bodies, relationships, presence, taste, physical reality, things that push back. The feast. But if ASI really arrives, another field of question begins. Not only what is a human, but what is a human allowed to be? The question stays with me. What happens when humans are no longer the final decision makers in the world? Are we citizens, partners, children, pets, protected animals, historical ancestors, competitors, or simply another species living inside a much larger intelligent environment? I don't know. And maybe nobody knows. That is why I am interested in thinking about what I would call a kind of post-superintelligence anthropology. Not only how do we control superintelligence, but if we cannot fully control it, what happens to humans afterward? What freedoms remain? What rights remain? What decisions remains ours? What does privacy mean? What does property mean? What does travel mean? What does politicals mean? What does human dignity mean? And after all of that, can we still have the feast? So, my final feeling about Homo Convivium is complicated. I really like it. It made the future feel brighter to me. I love the idea that humans do not need to justify our existence by being the smartest beings in the universe. I love the idea of intelligence becoming weather. I love the longing for mass. I love the phrase things push back. And I love the idea that what remains of us might be the feast. But I cannot accept the feast as the whole answer. Because before the feast, there is survival. Before living together, there is the right to exist. Before choosing a meaningful life, there is the ability to choose. And before asking what humans should do after superintelligence, we have to ask whether humans still have the power to decide what humans should do. Maybe that is the question I am talking with me as I continue walking through this essay. Ochiai sensei gives me a map for the walk, and somewhere inside the forest, I found a place where the map seems to stop. There is a sign saying AGI, ASI, the disappearance of human intellectual superiority. Further study needed. And I think that is where I want to keep walking. Maybe Homo Convivium is not the end of the path. Maybe it is one beautiful landmark, a place where we can stop and imagine a good future. But beyond that landmark is another forest, much darker and more uncertain one. The question there is no longer what remains of us when intelligence becomes weather. The question is, what intelligence becomes more powerful than us? What remains ours? Bodies, land, choices, privacy, future, right to say no? And if those things remain, then maybe we can finally return to Ochiai Sensei's beautiful sentence. What remains of us is the feast. Maybe then the feast is not something given to us, not something permitted by a machine, but something we still choose for ourselves. And if that future is possible, yes, I would like to be there, at the table. That's what I wanted to talk about today.